Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Bronson Reed has sent a heartfelt message to a 34-year-old star after he was quietly shown the door by WWE sometime last month. Reports suggested that Triple H decided to release Duke Hudson as he supposedly wasn't ready for the main roster. As per the rumor mill, Hudson was let go sometime in mid-January after a nearly 6-year stint with WWE that began in 2019. He had a fairly successful run in NXT as part of Chase University, where he also became a one-time NXT Tag Team Champion alongside Andre Chase. However, their reign lasted merely 21 days. Duke Hudson hadn't been active in the ring over the last few months, with his last televised match going down way back in September 2024. After reports of his release emerged, it was also noted that since all roster cuts are made by Triple H, the WWE Chief Content Officer took the decision to release Hudson soon after. Hudson publicly confirmed his release with a video on X/Twitter, which quickly led to an outpouring of support. Bronson Reed, who's currently on a hiatus due to injury, shared a few heartfelt words for his fellow Australian Hale, who was a part of Chase University alongside Hudson, recently took to her Instagram to pay a loving tribute to her former stablemate after his WWE departure. The 21-year-old wrote how she was grateful to have had Duke Hudson by her side as he continuously guided her on her journey in the wrestling business. Going by the video he posted after his release, it's safe to assume Duke Hudson is already readying himself to make a splash wherever the business takes him next. Chapter 1. A new era begins. Bronson Reed stood in the quiet solitude of his small apartment, the glow of his phone illuminating his face. He had just finished a grueling training session at the gym. His body was sore, but his mind was sharp. He was always on the grind, always pushing forward. But today was different. Today, a message had appeared in his inbox, a cryptic text from none other than Triple H. "Hey Bronson, we need to talk. Call me when you can." The words lingered in his mind. Triple H had been quiet for a while. There were rumors that Reed had been under WWE's radar for a potential return, but he had never expected to hear from the game directly. The anticipation in Reed's chest grew as he dialed the number, the phone ringing louder than it ever had before. When Triple H's voice came through the speaker, it wasn't the cold, businesslike tone Reed had expected. Instead, there was an odd warmth to it. "Bronson, how are you?" "Good, you?" Reed replied, his voice betraying the nervous energy building in his stomach. I'm good. Listen, I know things have been strange lately with everything that's gone on in WWE, the changes we've made, and so on, but I wanted to reach out and let you know something important." Bronson leaned forward in his chair, his brow furrowed. He didn't want to assume anything, but the silence between them felt heavy. Was he being called back to the WWE? Or was this some kind of business proposal for something else? "You've been patient, Bronson, and you've continued to put in the work, but there's something you need to know." Triple H paused, and Reed felt his heart pound in his chest. "I've made some tough decisions over the past few days. One of those decisions involves someone who's been with the company for a long time, someone who's been a champion." Reed's mind raced. Could he be referring to one of the top stars being released? Someone like Drew McIntyre? Or even Roman Reigns, who? Bronson asked, a mix of curiosity and unease creeping into his voice. "It's Bray Wyatt," Triple H finally said. "He's been quietly released from WWE." The news hit Reed like a punch to the gut. Bray Wyatt, the former Universal Champion, the enigmatic and captivating star, was gone. He could feel the weight of it. It wasn't just about Wyatt, this was about the entire company and its direction. People like Bray weren't just wrestlers, they were the lifeblood of WWE. Without Bray's mind-bending promos and haunting persona, the landscape of the company would feel incredibly different. Reed had followed Bray Wyatt's career from afar, admired his creativity, his ability to reshape the business with his vision. He knew the impact Wyatt had on the company, the fans, and his fellow superstars. To hear that he was gone felt like a dark omen, but at the same time, it sparked something deep inside Reed. a sense of urgency. This was a message, whether intentional or not, to everyone in the locker room. Nothing was guaranteed. "I know this is a lot to process, but I need you to understand something," Triple H continued. "Bray Wyatt's departure opens the door for a lot of new opportunities. You, Bronson, you have a chance to step up in a way you never have before. The business is changing, and it's time for a new wave of talent to take over." Reed's pulse quickened. He'd always known he was good enough for the big leagues. He'd proven that in NXT, and even though his time in the main roster had been brief, he felt the fire still burning inside him. Was this the moment? The moment he had been waiting for. "Triple H, what do you need me to do?" Reed asked, his voice steady now, but his heart racing with anticipation. "I need you to send a message, Bronson," Triple H said, his tone now intense. "A message to everyone out there who thinks they're safe, to everyone who thinks the old guard has it all locked down. The future is here, and it starts with you." Chapter 2. The Fire Rekindled. After the phone call ended, Reed sat back in his chair, staring at the blank wall in front of him. The adrenaline from the conversation was still pumping through his veins, his mind racing with the possibilities. Bray Wyatt's departure meant one thing: the foundation of WWE was shaking. It was a sign of change, a sign that things were about to get shaken up. Reed had always been a fan of chaos, of change. He had learned early in his career that nothing in wrestling was guaranteed. You could be on top one minute and at the bottom the next. Just look at his own journey. He had been called up to the main roster with big expectations, but was quickly lost in the shuffle. The creative direction didn't quite fit him, and the powers that be couldn't see the monster inside of him. But now, with Bray gone, there was an opening. It was time for Bronson Reed to take the opportunity. His phone buzzed again, interrupting his thoughts. It was a message from his trainer, reminding him about their upcoming session. Reed grinned, putting the phone down and standing up. He had work to do. The world didn't wait for anyone, and Reed wasn't about to let it pass him by. Later that evening, Reed found himself back in the gym, lifting weights and pushing his body to its limits. Each rep, each set, felt like a physical manifestation of the message he needed to send. The world was changing, and Reed was going to be part of that change. He could feel it in every fiber of his being. His focus never wavered as he completed set after set. Sweat poured down his face, but he didn't stop. He had something to prove, not just to the fans of the WWE brass, but to himself. He had been underestimated before, but not anymore. He was ready to carve out his place in history, ready to show everyone that he wasn't just another wrestler, he was a force of nature. As the night wore on, Reed's thoughts turned back to Bray Wyatt. He knew how devastating it could be to lose a champion, someone who had become a cornerstone of the company. But at the same time, Reed understood the bittersweet truth: WWE was always evolving. Every generation had its time, and every superstar eventually made way for the next wave. It was the circle of life in the wrestling business. Reed couldn't deny the excitement that burned within him. The departure of Bray Wyatt, though tragic, was an opportunity. It was the message Triple H had been sending. The old guard had made their mark, but it was time for the new generation to step forward. Chapter 3. The Message. The next day, Reed received another call from Triple H. This time, it wasn't cryptic. It was direct. "Bronson, we're ready. It's time to make your move." Reed felt a surge of energy course through his veins. This was it, the moment he had been waiting for. "What do you need me to do?" he asked, his voice firm and ready. "I want you to take over the show. I want you to send a message to the entire WWE universe, loud and clear. The future is here, and you are the one leading it." Reed had never been one to shy away from a challenge. He knew exactly what he needed to do. It was time to remind everyone who he was. He wasn't just Bronson Reed. He was the Colossus. He was the future of WWE. And so that night, as the show aired live, Reed's music hit. The crowd erupted as the Colossus made his way down the ramp, the arena shaking with anticipation. But this time, it wasn't just about the match. This time, it was about sending a message. Bronson Reed entered the ring, grabbed a microphone, and looked into the camera. The arena fell silent, the fans hanging on every word. "The past is over," he began, his voice booming. "And if you think the old guard is coming to save you, think again. Bray Wyatt may be gone, but there's a new force in town. The future of WWE starts right here, right now. And my name is Bronson. Red. Get ready, because I'm here to take over." As the words echoed through the arena, Red dropped the mic and raised his arms, signaling the end of an era and the beginning of something new. The crowd cheered, some in awe, others in disbelief. But Red didn't care about the opinions of the doubters. The message had been sent. Chapter 4. The future is now. From that moment on, Bronson Red became a symbol of strength, resilience, and transformation. He took on anyone who stood in his way, each match more intense than the last. He wasn't just competing, he was dominating, proving that he was the future of WWE. As weeks passed, the buzz around Red grew louder. He wasn't just another big man in the ring, he was a force unlike any the company had seen in years. Fans began to chant his name, and whispers of his potential spread like wildfire. There was no denying it, the Colossus was here, and the future of WWE had arrived. And it all started with a simple message. Triple H had sent it. Bronson Red had received it. And now, the world was watching the end. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our WWE official YouTube channel for more update news.